Hey, what's up, Operation Despot family? Welcome back. You've successfully hung on to episode 3. We got quite the episode for you. We're going to go over a few things, some housekeeping rules, what you guys are doing, how you guys are helping us, and what's to come in the future for you guys. Noah?
What's going on, ODP family? Super excited to be here again for the umpteenth time this week to record this episode. I will just throw out there really quick. We spent over an hour recording our footage last night. Unfortunately, it was all crap, so we're here to do it all over again. So a few things that we want to talk about. First off, I'm going to hit our YouTube stats. So we've surpassed 1,000 views. Thank you. Yep. 110 watch hours on, what do we have? 2 videos so far, 2 videos and some shorts on there. So yeah, crazy amount there. We're at 53 subscribers. I know we can do better. I know we have 59 followers on Facebook, so we should at least have.
I think we should have 100.
We should have 200. 200 by, what's today's date? The 16th. 200 by the end of the month. Should be easy.
Yeah.
So we did get somebody else on with us to help us out with the social media, because I will, again, put myself out there and say I'm horrible with that stuff. So we're pretty excited about that. She's going to help us knock it out of the park with our social media stats and getting more content out there for you guys. So what does this episode consist of today?
So today, what we're going to do, we're going to hit the police life before and after. I'd like to just talk about a brief article that I came across on Sunday out of the Statesman, Idaho Statesman there.
Which is now popped over to Police One, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I just checked today, and it's now on Police One. And then we're also going to give you guys a body cam video that we're going to kind of break down from, where was that?
Milwaukie,
that's right.
Yeah. Milwaukie, yeah. So we call them debriefs. You know, you have a crappy situation. The first thing you got to do is debrief it. Why do we debrief? It's not to berate the person who was in that crappy situation. So when we're watching these, you guys have to understand you're not in it, so you don't get the full experience of everything that's going on. The one that we're going to watch today is pretty intense, and it's just a welfare check. But as Jonathan and I have said before, it never is what it is until it is what it is. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about this one, because I did watch this, and it gave me the EBGBs watching it. So yeah. So the other thing that we need to bring up is Patreon and kind of how we're moving our platform over.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, so Patreon is going to be the platform that we're going to release the full videos for you guys, like you're seeing today. It's going to be a live stream for you Patreon participants to where we're going to do like a 10-minute recording where it's just us talking and just kind of to give you guys a different perspective of what experiences we may have had. Maybe it's a question and answer time. Still looking for that mailbag, guys. Please send us in some questions and things like that. It can be on anything, what our opinion is on something political or, local, whatever the case may be. But, we're also going to have merchandise that we're going to start selling. Shirts, hats, mugs, challenge coins. We want to bring you guys the best experience that we can, that you guys can have some buy-in and, feel like this thing is a part of you guys. That's the biggest thing that we want, is for Noah and I to give you guys as our fans a product that you can wear around town. You guys can say, hey, check that out. Maybe if you're at a coffee shop or something like that, which brings me to my next point. We're just going to charge $5.
Yeah. Yeah. So $5 a month. It's a cup of coffee at the end of the day. So I'm not going to sit here and lie and say that everything that we've gotten is cheap, because we've spent between the two of us we've spent thousands of dollars so far.
Right.
And it's scary. It hurts a little bit. However, we're having a lot of fun doing it. We're having a lot of fun talking to you guys and stuff. So that's why we want to move over to Patreon. What is Patreon? So it's just a subscription-based platform. So all of your money would be going to us and our endeavor here. We've talked about what we want to do with that. One of those things is merch. The other things is we want to start basically a bank account that we can donate to officers in need or community members in need. You know, maybe it's departments that need some money for training or whatever. I would love to put as much money as we can towards that. So it's it's www.patreon.com/Operation Despop. So it's super easy. Again, it's a cup of coffee a month. You might be asking, what is that going to go to? Eventually, we want to upgrade all of our stuff again to get better content out there. And we want to get merchandise. That stuff is very, very expensive. We're currently saving up out of our own wallets and to get that out there for you guys. But like Jonathan said, we want to get, the challenge coins. We want to get patches. We want to get hats, shirts, and honestly, whatever we can. I mean, that would be our goal. But I'm super excited to be moving over to that style platform because like Jonathan said, we're going to be moving. So the first segment of the show is going to be live, a live stream sitting here with our Patreon family, our Operation Despot family on Patreon. And we're going to be answering questions, and nothing is off limits, guys, honestly. I mean, in my opinion, besides family stuff, we don't really like to get too specific about family stuff, but nothing is off limits. So
also with Patreon is we're going to be uncensored and able to post more graphic things than say on YouTube, because they have community guidelines. Patreon is like, you're paying for this service, so you can get pretty much
get what you pay for. Yeah.
Right.
So like he said, there is sometimes some gory things that police run into, and we set forth this mission to show all of it, the good, the bad, and the ugly, to be cliche again. So it's kind of hard to do that on the YouTube platform just because of all of the guidelines and everything. And they could honestly at any point take your money away from you if, say, you don't have the same political view as them. So that being said, that we would lose all of our merch money, all of our, equipment money, all of that stuff would be gone. So that is why we're switching over to Patreon. But like I said, we are moving to that live portion. So Patreon members will get to see these videos that you're watching right now in real time. So, and then we're going to record it while we're streaming, and then we're going to cut it up and put some sections out there on YouTube. Without further ado, let's get into life before a cop versus during and after. What do you got, John?
Oh, man. So being a cop before was a kind of a blissful time, maybe,
Mm-hmm.
My example that I kind of give people is, just imagine that you're in a coffee shop or you're going to a restaurant, and then you just pick whatever seat in the full room and just sit down.
You just sit down,
Right.
you eat.
Yeah.
Have a great time.
Right. Have a great time with your friends or family or whoever that you're enjoying this meal with, and then it's like, then you get to be a cop.
Yeah. And then you get to see all the ugly stuff that happens. And then you can no longer go into that coffee shop, and you can no longer sit wherever you want, and you can no longer not worry about who's walking through that door. It's real.
Yeah. And that's one thing that I really noticed was, when transforming into, and I say transforming because it kind of is a little bit,
For sure.
You're leaving one blissful life for a selfless life.
Yeah.
And so when you go into these situations like the full, room at the restaurant, you're sitting with your back to the wall so that you have full view of the exits or the door or whoever, and you recognize people's movements and coming in and out and things like that.
Yeah.
Because it's, called living in the orange, really.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
I've never heard that.
Yep. So there's actually a book that kind of goes in depth about it. The author slips my mind right now, but it's living in the orange, and it's living in that heightened sense of what's to come or what's next.
24/7.
Right. All the time.
Yeah.
It's very, it's good tactically.
Yeah.
But it also takes a toll on your family.
Oh yeah.
Because when I first told my spouse at the time, like, yeah, hey, I need to sit against the wall, she was like, what?
So we have assigned seating now, do we?
Yeah, she thought I was crazy. And I'm like, no, like, and then I explained it to her, and she goes, oh, okay, well, that makes sense, just like carrying, concealed.
Yeah.
It's like, you just do that naturally now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, and carrying concealed too, so I'm like appendix carry, so I easily can keep my front of my body away from people.
Yeah.
But for a short time I did, have it like on my right hip, and you naturally, when you have your duty belt on, you're trained to keep that gun hip away.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed even when I was talking to like family members or something, and I was concealed carrying, I'm always slanted a little bit. I'm at a guarded stance off to the side, bladed as they call it, keeping my concealed firearm away from my own family, which, obviously it's just second nature.
Right.
It just becomes, So, and yesterday we talked about something that I got to bring up again because it's the dream, dude.
Oh yeah.
It's the infamous dream. So, I'll let John bring it up because he brought it up yesterday, and it hit home for me for sure.
Yeah. So, and this started, I can't even remember, maybe like a year after me being a cop or something like that, and it was the infamous dream of you're in a foot chase or you're fighting somebody, or there's a situation where you need to pull out your gun.
Yeah.
And you need to go do business, right?
Mm-hmm.
You need to put the bad guy down. And it's so clear. Pull out my gun, line it up, sight picture perfect, trigger pull, just like smooth as butter.
Yeah.
You either can't pull the trigger, or when you do pull the trigger, the bullet that comes out is like molasses.
Yeah.
And I wake up like sweating, like, oh God, what happened? Where am I? Like,
it's like RAPD, like, am I dead?
Right. Yeah. No, it was totally like that, and I don't know why I haven't talked to a psychologist about this to determine like the science behind it, or maybe if there's even science behind it, but it was still something that it is like a cop thing or a cop life thing. I've talked to plenty of other cops, throughout my 12 years, and all of them have the same thing, where it's like they get in a foot pursuit and they just can never catch the guy.
Yeah.
Or it's like these things that kind of set themselves off in your brain, and it's very frustrating.
Oh, it is. It is. Because then I've had that dream, that exact same thing, whether it's the molasses bullet that comes out of it, and I hate those damn bullets, or like you said, you can't pull the trigger. Everything's great. Maybe you just serviced your gun, it's going to work, but as soon as you pull it out, for some reason, it's like a bubble gun or something. It isn't there. The next day, though, that when you're at work, that sits so heavily on your mind. I know it did for me. It was one of those things where before you're going out on patrol, you're taking your ammo out and click, rack, click,
I was
rack,
gonna say,
click,
like,
rack, click.
I was dry firing like crazy.
Yeah, okay. It's fine. The gun works. I know it was just a dream, but you can't take your mind off of it for some reason.
Yeah. Another thing that kind of goes along with that is like the effect and toll that it takes on your spouse.
Yeah.
I don't think us as being the police officers truly appreciate the police spouses that kind of put up, and I say put up because sometimes they're putting up with it.
Oh yeah. They're more than putting up with it.
Yeah.
No, I can totally hit on that. Because one of the reasons why I had left was it had taken such a toll on it separated me so much from my family. You know what I mean? Like it was something that I never wanted to go out in public with my family because I didn't want, a bad guy that I've dealt with before to see me with my family and then try and going after them to, hurt me or whatever. It's a heavy setting for sure. I mean, I don't know what it takes, honestly. You know, like I said, I left because of that. I never got to see my kids. I mean, I was always at work, just constantly working. If I wasn't at work, I was sleeping or going to court or training or something, because, you know, I was typically on nights. So it was hard to switch. When you're on nights, you get off at 6 a.m. and the debate is, do you stay up until 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock at night when your family goes to bed, or do you sleep a little bit, which I could never do. I could never get in like 2 or 3 hours and then wake up. Once I passed out, I was crashed, because that's my normal sleeping time was, 7 to 8 in the morning up until 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So it takes a lot away from you, but it takes a special person for sure.
Oh yeah. Definitely. Like, I was one of those guys that was like, I'll sleep for like 4 hours, you know, I'll try that and see if it works.
8 hours later.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah. Like, I'll set 16 alarms. I was never like the 16 alarm guy, you know, it's like 8:02, 8:03, 8:04, you know, you're setting your alarm, but you know, I gradually slipped into that and it didn't matter, you know, but because in the position that I was in as a gang detective, we had to be on call.
Right.
But you bet your butt, for whatever reason,
as soon as that phone rang,
when dispatch called and that phone rang, I was like, oh,
here we go.
Yep. Hello. Were you sleeping?
I've been up for the past 42 hours, so who knows what's going on. So one of the things, honestly, and I'll bring it up, there's two things that really got me. So my wife works a normal job, you know, normal hours job, and I worked the complete opposite of that. So, and it seemed like I never got weekends off. It took a while to get the weekends off, you know.
Oh yeah.
The only time we would see each other is in passing while she's heading to work in the morning and I am going home in the morning. So that was one big reason. And then the other big reason that like really hit me. So it was on my birthday. My daughter went and picked out a cake for me. She was super excited to give it to me, and she didn't understand because I was at work. So my wife came with my kids, and they dropped off the cake, and she just started bawling. And I was like, well, what's going on? My wife was like, well, she wanted to have the cake with you. It's your birthday. She kind of wanted to celebrate it and stuff. And I was like, man, it's not even about me at this point. You know, it's about the kids, right?
Yeah, right.
And it really, like at that moment for me, I realized how much I was taking away from my kid's life. That's a personal thing, though. You know, that's something that I should have done better, in my opinion, because there are families out there with, you know, the spouses or, you know, the husbands or the wives, the moms, the dads, that are working as an officer, and they're doing perfectly fine. So
yeah, some people make it work, but you know, there's still another part of it that you're not going to learn in an academy. Yeah, you know, you're not gonna learn through social media. Yeah, you know, like you'll probably learn it honestly just listening to us two talk.
I was gonna say that's what we are here for, people.
You know, it's more of like, you know, trial by fire. Yeah, honestly. Yeah. You know, and if I could go back in time and spend more time with the family while still being a cop, I would totally do that. Yeah. You know, I lost out on too much time of family events and things like that, and kind of got into this position of putting the job first. Yeah. And if that's one thing I could tell anybody, it's like, don't spend your life being a cop. Yeah. Because that's the biggest issue nowadays.
Yeah, just remember that being a cop is a profession. Being a father, being a husband or a mother and a wife, that should come number one. And you can't lose that.
Right. Because at the end of the day, let's face it, you're replaceable. The department, the city is going to find somebody else to take your position or take your badge number, and then it's just going to work. Yep. You know, they treat it like, you know, you're an employee. Yeah,
because that's what you are.
Right.
You are exactly that. You are an employee to the city, but obviously as an officer, you have those. In my opinion, as officers, you can only relate to other officers. You know, I realized with my friends, I call them civilian friends that I had, that all of that kind of went away because, you know, I'm the stories that I was wanting to talk about, or those sometimes you couldn't talk about it with them,
Right.
but you could talk about it with your cop friends if they were on scene with you or whatever. And two, they don't want to hear that stuff most of the time. So,
Right.
yeah,
I'd say a majority of the time, like, you know what? There's two types of civilian friends.
Mhm.
There's the type that's like, I don't want to hear about, the blood, guts, and the gore. And then you have the other friends that are like, dude, tell me everything.
That was so crazy.
Right. But no, I mean, it's good to understand the difference and to recognize that. If I had this tool, this conversation available to me years ago, it would have drastically changed a lot of things in my life.
Oh, yeah.
But not now.
Yeah, no, I agree. So, one of the things when I had left, and I don't necessarily regret leaving, because again, I've brought a lot of family time back. I'm always with my family now.
Isn't it nice?
It is nice, but I miss it, dude. I miss it so much. Like, I'm not gonna lie, that job was my job. Like, I was built for that job, I think.
One thing that I've heard, and I've heard it 2 times, and both times, it says, once you are a hunter of men, there is no other fulfillment there.
It's true.
That is the highest thing that you can do.
Yeah.
And the most risky and adrenaline dump
And rewarding.
Yeah. Right. At the end of the day.
Yeah.
And after that, it's like you could pretty much go do anything.
Yeah.
And you're not going to find that fulfillment. Maybe you will. I don't know. But I feel like there's just a point to that statement to where it's like, that makes total sense to me.
Yeah. No, and I can attest to that. I moved over to the healthcare field, thinking I'm still doing some type of good, right? It's nowhere near the same. It's nowhere near the same. So, but we won't talk you guys' ear off about that. I'm just glad that we can be open about it and talk about it. We're going to be doing a lot of this stuff on our Patreon. So again, patreon.com/Operation Despot. Come check us out. It's a cup of coffee a month. That is all that we were asking. We were asking for a little Starbucks donation every month. And like we talked about, those Patreon members will be getting the merch first. They will be getting a $5 off discount on the merch that they purchase to give that money back. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and move over to November 14th of last year, so a few months ago. We have a welfare check debriefing turned into a officer-involved shooting. Just EBGs from the beginning, man.
Oh yeah, when you showed me this video, I looked at you and looked at the video and was like, holy cow.
Yeah.
Like, I would have never expected this situation to pop off like it did. But it does, and that just is another thing. It's like, that's police work, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, you're never gonna know what you're gonna get until you're in it.
Yeah, and that's what training's for.
Yeah.
Train every which way you can. So when you get in situations like this, you know what to do. So without further ado,
Here we go.
So we're going to try and really break this one down as much as possible. So right off the bat, horrible tactical setup here. You have downstairs, and then you have an upstairs and a very small corridor. Somebody answered the door. So far, everything seems good, but really crappy situation right here to be in. So.
Yep.
You said you gotta make sure you got an animal or something? Go ahead.
I'll let you hit this.
Yeah, I think that's super strange for this person who called the police to just show the guy the way and say, here, after you. They teach you in the police academy, right, that no one walks behind you, and really that should just be harped on as it is. You know, don't let people walk behind you. And I get that situations may dictate a slight modification, but
Yeah.
you know, that was a big red flag for me here.
Yeah. Well, and one thing that, you know, I'd kind of point out is that this officer is walking backwards through a door. So, yes, he's keeping this person, the only person that he's identified in the home so far, in his line of sight. But again, that's just more the reason for you to have them go first. That way you don't have to walk backwards into a complete unknown, because that can get a little scary. So.
And then, yeah, weird grabs a brake rotor.
Yeah.
What, this one?
Yeah, I mean, we already have red flags going off right here. He's got the brake rotor.
Oh, no, so block the door.
Oh, it's just to block the door.
Gotcha. You want to just back on the door for me? Rocky?
I like how the officer is having that guy do as much as he can for him, though.
Yeah, definitely.
Dorothy! Where's her bed at? Yeah.
Another red flag.
Yeah, that's a telltale sign right there. Is, you know, when people are, hey, putting their hands up, subconsciously they're thinking of something's gonna happen. You know, which eventually it did. But
The lights there? Yeah. You got the lights on?
I like the wind chime in the
Where's
house.
she going there?
yeah,
What do you mean? She's right here. Oh. She's right there.
okay. So
Dorothy?
so this person tries to lead, in my opinion, completely tries to lead that officer into the room. You know, hey, he's over there, or she's over there. There's her bed over there. The officer's obviously trying to keep this guy in his sight. He's shining his flashlight in there. He doesn't see anybody. And, he points that out to the guy, and the guy's like, oh, well, yeah, it's because she's right here. What? So I think you could easily say that this person is trying to lead this officer into this dark abyss.
Yeah, there's an ulterior motive here.
Yeah.
Is she sleeping? Okay. How long has she been sleeping for?
Since 6.
What's the bag for?
She wets the bed.
You gotta cover it like that.
Nice.
Out the window and stuff.
Okay, you pull the cover back for me.
Dorothy?
Why is she covered up like that? Her face.
She's sleeping.
Alright, just step back for me. Is it Dorothy? Miss Dorothy? Why don't you got flowers and stuff on her like that?
That's weird.
Okay, step back.
Boom. So all of that, oh, she's sleeping. She's been sleeping since 6.
Yeah, that's all a fake story.
Yeah. Oh, that's how she sleeps, with flowers on her head, or the blankets over her because I opened up a window.
Yeah.
All of this crazy stuff, and then he looks down and says, "Oh, she's dead." So obviously, cop hits that right away and says, "Step away."
Step back.
She's dead, sir.
What do you mean she's
She's dead. I was gonna call her relatives in the morning.
okay? Put your hands
See,
up.
and now he's totally, because before it was she's sleeping, and now it turns into she's dead. I was gonna call her family
Yeah.
later. Like, okay,
Something's going
yeah,
on here.
gigs up, bud.
Yeah. So
Not a squad,
We'll
tomorrow,
continue on a
commissioner,
little bit.
supervisor. Put your hands behind your back.
very delayed, putting his hands behind his back.
Sir, don't even look at me. Hands behind
Yeah.
your
So
back. You look
great
at me.
job to this officer. Don't even look at me. Don't give them that ability to see where you're at.
No, you're not gonna get shot, but you looking at me like that is kind of
And he's
nervous.
bringing up, oh, you're just gonna shoot me.
Stop looking at me.
There's one thing that we talked about yesterday when we recorded all of this. The handcuffs in 2 hands.
Yeah.
I would highly recommend not doing that. You know, have both of your hands on the suspect's arm or hands, you know, whatever. Typically in the academy, they tell you to grab your fingers or hands, and then part of the bicep lets them know, it's body pressure, it lets them know that you're here. And then you can get your handcuffs.
Yeah.
Don't walk up to a suspect with your handcuffs in your hand. If you need to like push them back and go, you know, say that they have an appendix carry firearm in their waist, they go to reach for it as soon as you get up close. You don't want to have to ditch the handcuffs and then push and then, you know, draw your firearm. You just push, draw, and do what you need to do. Or close quarters combat with the suspect. So.
Don't do that.
But this officer's doing a good job of calling this guy out. Hey, don't look at me. I've got my taser out. If you don't, you know, listen to my commands, you will get tased.
I got a taser right now. Okay. Just let me know. All right. All right.
You shoot me in the face.
No, no,
Okay.
no.
Now we know.
Yeah, now we know what's going on.
Don't. Make that other squad 1017, please.
453 to Bishop Officer responded 2348 North Booth in the lower 1017. 5372. Cover.
So he's still messing with his handcuffs. I would
Yeah.
get those things out of my hand.
Yeah, still has the handcuffs in his hands. This guy's saying, just shoot me, just shoot me. Just shoot me in the head. He's still not listening to commands. And this officer's even asking for his backup to expedite, hurry it up a little bit. I don't know if 1017 is going to be lights and sirens or not.
Yeah,
But,
I don't know either.
he's definitely expediting his backup.
Because you're doing too much moving and you're making me
I'm
nervous.
460 Seco for that.
No. Just don't move.
Seco. Seco.
Reporting show stone.
34 Seco for that.
On the ground.
Just give us a C3 for now.
So he's putting now suspect
Seco.
On the ground. On the ground. On your
in
stomach.
in
No,
a
on your
better
stomach.
position for the
Sir,
officer.
on your stomach.
It's harder to fight from the ground.
You're
So
doing too much.
Okay, don't take it. Don't take it.
No, you're going to get to this.
Okay, I'm down.
Put your hands behind your back. Now. Hands behind your back. Behind your back.
you notice when the taser came out, that's when he was like,
Put
oh,
your hands
okay.
Yeah,
Put your
that's
hands
the
behind your
reaction for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And you can see the pole right by the guy's
Yeah.
arm there.
Put your other hand behind your
So
back.
we again only have control of one hand.
5348
Most of you can guess as soon as
Put your
that
hand
taser goes away
behind
what's
your
going to
back, your
happen.
other hand. Yep, put it
And
behind
putting
your
your
back.
taser away is a very noticeable sound. People know it.
Yeah.
So it just clicked in, and then there it is.
Stop! Stop resisting! Stop! Stop! Stop!
There goes the wind chimes.
Stop! 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 Give me another squad here now! Sir!
Right in the head.
Stop!
Right in the head.
You will be shot!
Right
Stop!
in the head. Right in the head. Please, right in the head.
Stop!
Okay.
Drop the pole!
Right in the head.
Drop the pole!
Right in the head, please.
Drop the pole!
Right in the
So
head.
suspect ended up grabbing that metal pole that was right by him.
Drop!
Do it in the head. Come on, right in
Sir.
the head. Please, right in the head. Right
Drop
in the
the
head.
pole,
Right in the head.
please.
Right in the head. Come on.
Now I'm gonna have to shoot
Right in
you.
the head. Right in the head. Come on. Do it, please. Come on. You don't know what I see. Do it.
Sir,
Do it.
drop the
Do
pole.
it. You don't know what I see. Do it.
Sir,
Right in the fucking face,
Drop
man.
the pole.
Right in the face. Come on. Come on.
drop the
Come
pole.
on. Right in the face, man. Please.
Drop
Right in the face.
on the ground now.
Right in the face. Come on.
On the ground.
Make it quick.
On the ground.
Please make it quick. Okay. Don't take it.
Okay, so we have taser deployed.
Drop it now.
Right in the face.
Drop
It was
it.
not a good hit.
Drop it.
Right in the face.
Drop it.
Yeah, if you're going to get a good
Drop.
connection for taser, you're not going to hear that spark or that
Yeah.
arc from the electricity.
Yeah, so the rule of thumb typically is if you can't, when you deploy your taser, if you don't hear the loud click, 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 click over and over again, that's when you know that it's been a good contact versus a bad contact.
Mm-hmm.
The weight now.
Right in the face.
Drop the weight.
Right in the face.
Drop the weight.
Right in the face.
Drop the weight. Subject is that girlfriend. You need to squat.
Right in the face. Come on. Don't take me, man.
Drop.
Don't take me, man.
the weight. Drop the weight. He said.
Okay. So that was pretty much, it. They did get other officers there pretty quick, and they treat the suspect who had been shot. He does not succumb to his injuries. So a little bit of background on it. A neighbor had called because they hadn't talked to Dorothy in a while. That's when this officer responded, and this person in the home was, I believe, renting the home, not related to Dorothy. But one of the biggest things that I want to bring up here is, something that I got told a lot was don't let your training tape run out. So in these high stress situations, it's very easy to just keep saying stop, 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 drop the pole, drop the pole, drop the pole. You really have to think outside the box on these kinds of things. One of the things I brought up yesterday, again, when we recorded all of this, was the suspect gave that officer something to kind of hone in on. He said, "You don't see, or you don't know what I see, man. You don't see what I see. You don't hear what I hear." So let's talk about that. What does that mean, man? Tell me what you're hearing. Tell me what you're seeing right now. I don't want to do this. I just need to drop, those kinds of things. You can hear the officer, out of breath. I mean, it's a very hyped situation. Your awareness is through the roof. Your heart rate is going a million miles an hour. So many things are running through your head. And obviously what's running through your head is, man, I do not want to have to shoot this person. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not a fun thing to do by any means. So having a bigger training tape or a more advanced training tape, is that going to prevent something like this? No, not 100% of the time at all. It's a way to see if you can change things up. Maybe if you could have just kept them talking on the other side of the room for a little bit longer until the assist units got there. Again, we're not here to break it down and say that this officer did horrible, because we don't know where the backup was in regards to when the shots went off. We don't know any of that. So
yeah, and at the end of the day, he did what he needed to do to protect his life.
Yeah. When somebody's coming at you with a metal pole, a large metal pole, very heavy, it could, one swing across the head, you think about it, one swing across the head, say it doesn't kill the officer, right? Would it probably incapacitate him for at least a good second for a suspect to grab the gun that's on the officer's hip or the taser?
Oh, certainly.
I mean, that's the school of thought behind that. There's absolutely full opportunity that if you get knocked out as an officer, it's happened before. So
No doubt. Well, I think that does it for today, guys. Do you have any closing comments?
I do. So again, I'm going to bring up Patreon. Yeah. So patreon.com/Operation Despop. You guys have to come check us out there, because next week, we haven't nailed down a day exactly. We're hoping for Wednesday. Next week, we're going to be doing our live. Now, Jonathan only wants to do 10 minutes. I think we can try and get him to do like 30 minutes or so. And
calling me out like that.
Yeah. So I want to do, if we can get it to like an hour before our show, that would be great. I would love to sit there with, 15, 20 people, hopefully in the future, hundreds to thousands of people, and answer as many questions as we can, and just have a great time with you guys before the show. And then, like I said, we'll hit record. We will do our podcast. You guys, the Patreon members, will be seeing it real time. And then the YouTubers, they will be getting some small portions of it, because again, we can't show everything that we want to. We will make sure not to have any videos of Jonathan shaking his buttocks. Can't say anything bad on YouTube. So we'll make sure to keep that stuff out.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. So without further ado, thank you, Operation Despop family. Yet another good episode, in my opinion. I had a good one I had a fun time on this one. So we will see you again next week.
Yep. Later, guys. Let us know how we did. Don't forget to hit that subscribe, like, do all that stuff for us. All right. See you next week.